So hey, play the game. It's Xiant again, and welcome back to Central. This is some demolition on revolution on grind, and that's all I'm going to say about the gameplay, because I want to talk about something that I think you'll like. I want to talk about exploration as extra content. Now, you could call moving from place to place in a game padding the time played, which in some cases it is. Some of the 60, 80-hour RPGs are that long, primarily because you're spending a lot of time moving around the world or trying to figure out exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing in the game. But in a first-person shooter, or a zombies mode, as most of you are probably here for, what is it that adds extra value to the experience when at the end of the day, what you end up doing is running around in circles making sure the zombies don't slap you 5 times because you have Juggernaut? Why did we play zombies when World at War came out? It was new, it was interesting, it was fresh, it was something we hadn't thought possible or fun in the Call of Duty engine before. And then they started working on it full time, at least some of them did. And so what was it that got us playing? It got us playing, we wanted to find, oh, what's this? This is a mystery box. Oh, there's some cool weapons in here. Oh, what are these things? These are perks? We have Juggernaut in here? Oh, sleight of hand's back. Oh, this is interesting. I wonder where these are on the new maps. And so Treyarch started releasing new maps for zombies. They started releasing Verrucht, Kino, Ascension. And it wasn't until Ascension that the real meat of my topic comes in, the Easter eggs. But it's not the Easter eggs themselves I'm interested in. Because for me, they're the end to the means of exploration. And in a zombie map, as big as the ones they're putting out now, and I'd say Ascension will be my standard for zombie map size, you want an Easter egg to force your players to explore and experiment. And that's what really pads the time spent in zombies, at least for me nowadays. I want to find all the little details that Treyarch's put into the maps. Die Rise for me is a masterclass in making players play longer using extra content. Case in point, the Mahjong tiles. Those are some of the weirdest, that is one of the weirdest ways I can think of getting up something, getting part of an Easter egg. Now, of course, you could go back to Ascension and you have the ballistic knife in the wall looking at the clock for 2 minutes. That's just silly, but the Mahjong tiles have a very specific purpose, but they're also aesthetic. So you wouldn't just think to do them. You would think you might see them and think, hey, that's kind of funny. But if you're not really caught up in the lore of zombies, they don't mean much to you. And a lot of people play zombies religiously, at least at first, because they want to find the Easter egg, because Treyarch has established that there are Easter eggs in the zombie maps. And so we play zombies, at first at least, primarily to say, alright, what steps must I take to complete this Easter egg and get all the perks and progress the zombie storyline? Because back in World at War, at least in the beginning when it was just a couple of soldiers and some zombies, there wasn't really a storyline. It was just, alright, you're in a lockdown location, there's a few weapons and hordes of zombies that you have to go through. Then they added Tank and Richthofen and Takeo and the last Russian guy I can never remember the name of. And they started building a fiction. And while we were interested in the fiction as it was, there were no Easter eggs to go hunting for. It was just a whole bunch of people in a map with some zombies, and they added perks, and they added the mystery box, and they added ways to get around within these maps that are interesting and novel and fun to find. But all zombies maps eventually devolve into you kiting some zombies around for a few minutes, or a few hours if you're going for the high rounds. But then in Ascension, Treyarch said, what can we do to get the players playing even more? Get them to buy our DLC even more. And they took the fiction they'd already established, which at the time was actually pretty interesting. They said, how can we make it within game mechanics? And so they put in the Easter eggs. But in a stroke of genius, the Easter eggs were completely unannounced, save for a few files within the game. Some sound files that were saying, what's going on here? What about this is interesting? And in this way, they took a page out of Valve's book. A lot of the Easter eggs in alternate reality games that Valve does to announce their products and do other things to promote PR aren't really announced, they just sort of happen. And Valve leaves it to the community to figure things out. Now, Valve goes a step further, as they do with anything, And there's coding to do, there's backwards compatibility, there's reverse engineering, there's a whole bunch of really complicated out-of-game mechanics that have to happen in order for the alternate reality game to be completed and whatever new announcement Valve is doing to come to fruition. Now, of course, Treyarch doesn't have the time and probably doesn't want to put in the effort to create an alternate reality game of that sort of scope. So they keep all of their hidden gems within the game itself. Voice files, items, random spawns for items like the bear or the mahjong tiles. I mean, we would never have found, say, the music for the zombie maps if we hadn't thought to ourselves, all right, what happens if I go up to this bear and do something to it? I mean, it's here, and I know teddy bears are a thing in Call of Duty, so what do I do with it? And it makes a sound. And it's that sound that makes us curious, makes us think, all right, what does that bear do? Are there other bears on this map that I can go find? And then you do, and then a song plays. And with that, Treyarch sets a precedent. They're saying to their players, look around the maps a little bit. Don't just kite zombies the whole time. Yes, I don't mind if you kite zombies because, you know, that's a good way to do it. But there's more to this than just that. There's more to these maps than just what's obvious. There's very, very interesting and sort of amusing things about these maps that you can look for. And Treyarch knows this, and they've been just slowly adding on additional things. They added the Easter egg in Ascension, I think it was, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong about that. They added some things in Shangri-La, they added a new cast in Call of the Dead. And then they turned it a little bit and said, alright, we have a new cast, but wait, Tank and Richtofen and crew are still a part of this map. And they put them next to a wall that looks exactly like every other part of the map. It's on a ship, it's a blast door. Great. But you pass by it, and who do you hear but Richtofen, Tank, and Takeo talking and or throwing up. And of course, by that point, Treyarch and YouTube and the zombie scene has realized, all right, there's more to this. And so you go looking around the map, and you're looking around the map for how to activate whatever this door is. And while some were disappointed that you couldn't bring the old characters back and replace them with the Call of Duty characters, it got us moving. And it got us to Shangri-La, and then it gets us to Moon, and finally here to Black Ops 2, where not only are they building a fiction within the character build, they're building a fiction about the world itself. And in Die Rise, in the co-op screens, the loading screens, we're finally getting a glimpse of how the characters move from place to place. Because I've always wondered, if at the end of every zombies round, everyone is down, how do they move from place to place? Treyarch is building that. And it's gotten far enough along that you can look in the multiplayer maps. People will take time out of multiplayer to look for zombies clues. And so, people like here at PLAYtheGAME have been looking in Aftermath and Hijack and all these maps for clues as to what's going on in zombies. Because Treyarch knows that they can push our buttons in just such a way that we keep playing their game. No matter what part of the game we're playing, they know they've got us hooked. And they know that as long as we're hooked, we'll keep paying them money and keep paying their bills, and they can keep hitting us with new content and new curiosities to look at. And we'll enjoy it, and we'll think this was really, really fun. Why didn't I start doing this earlier? And we'll keep looking for those Easter eggs. And we'll keep looking for everything we can find, because exploration breeds playtime. And playtime, if you're doing it right, that's a good time.